Hello, No DQ Galaxy. It is the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne, here with the General, Jerry Slaughter. Normally we would be doing NXT reviews, but in this instance we wanted to do predictions for Super Showdown. Get our thoughts and our predictions. Yeah, get our 2 cents in. It's interesting. Jerry actually doesn't get to watch the product. He doesn't watch any WWE. He watches NXT with me, but that's on Wednesday night. He doesn't watch Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. So, in the interest of trying something different, we're gonna go prediction versus prediction with somebody that doesn't even know the product. They just know who the people are, and see if he can actually guess better who's gonna win these matches. Based on not being subject to some of the shitty storylines going into this show.
Yeah.
He actually doesn't know. I believe the only match he knows about is this one right here. Becky Lynch defending against Charlotte Flair.
Oh, I know about Undertaker versus Triple H, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with Becky Lynch that that's probably going to be a way better match.
Yeah. So, we're going to get right into it because I am notorious for long videos. So let's try and make this one less than an hour, let's say.
That's not going to happen.
Hopefully less than 30 minutes. Okay. Let's just start off with Cedric Alexander, the Cruiserweight Championship, defending against Buddy Murphy, who is the hometown, not really a hero. I believe he's a heel. I don't watch 205 Live, so this one's different on me because I don't know who to pick really, other than I know that Cedric Alexander's been champ a long time.
Yeah.
Since WrestleMania. But I'm going to let you start before I start saying a bunch of stuff that you might influence your decision. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Cedric Alexander because, I've seen him wrestle and I've also seen Buddy Murphy wrestle. Well, I've seen more Cedric Alexander performances than anything from his runs in Combat Zone Wrestling and Ring of Honor as well. So I've seen what he's actually capable of in a much grander stage than what he's used to on the any kind of 205 Live show or anything else. The idea of a super show, he's going to pull out some stuff that nobody's seen yet, especially if it's going to get him some more,
And this is a fairly grand stage.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people play down the Super Showdown as a glorified house show, a pay-per-view house show, but it's in a stadium with 70,000 people if they fill it. Even 50 or 60,000. I mean, that's a lot of people. This is a big event.
That's what I was saying. Like when you asked me if we wanted to do predictions for the show, I was thinking, okay, this one's overseas in a huge building. So yeah, this isn't your run-of-the-mill house show. This is pretty much them handing you more or less a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
because
they've done WrestleManias to fewer people.
I was about to say this actually has a WrestleMania feel just from the venue alone.
The venue, the size of the crowd. I really hope that they pack that place.
And how often does WWE actually do the whole big shows like this?
Once a year for WrestleMania, they'll do it in a baseball stadium or in a football stadium so they can pack more people.
Yeah, but I'm saying but this is just a regular televised event,
right?
Too, so
well, not televised. It's on the network, which you can get for $9.99, or free to new subscribers.
Plug.
It's not my plug. None of these are my plugs. I don't make any money off of this, but I highly recommend the network because I had it for years and almost never used it. I'd use it for pay-per-views and whatnot, but almost never used it though. And then I started watching Raw, old episodes of Raw. Yeah. So for me, it's been great. It's anytime I don't have anything to watch, I just fucking watch more episodes of Raw. I've gotten through 2.5 years worth of Raws and SmackDowns at this point.
I was about to say you're kind of Tarantinoing it at this point. You're doing the whole because I told you this story to tell you this story.
Oh yeah, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah.
Before I have to restart this video, we do it all over again. I'm gonna pick a title change here. I think Buddy Murphy takes it. It's his hometown, not just his home country. Yeah. If only because Cedric Alexander's had it a while, and this is not their first match. I know that, so I'm guessing this is sort of a long-standing feud, and if it's as good of a match as I heard that their previous match was, then there's bound to be more. And so the best way to extend this feud is to have the title change hands.
That's true too. It could actually set for like a good series of them, but I'm gonna still stick with Cedric on this one.
Okay. So I'm actually going to keep track of these. But next up we have the New Day defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Bar. That's Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yep. I see a title change on that one. Because those are my boys right there. Cesaro and Sheamus. The New Day, yeah, they're great and all, but in a big fight atmosphere like this, and I can honestly see Cesaro and Sheamus actually walking away with the titles on that occasion.
Yeah, I don't think Cesaro and Sheamus have been tag team champions since they were on Raw. I think they have yet to get the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
I actually did catch their last tag title run, and that's the other reason why I can honestly say I can see the titles changing hands.
Yeah, the SmackDown Tag Team Championships have kind of been on lockdown between the New Day, the Usos, and the Bludgeon Brothers there for a while. I think the Bar can get into the title picture by taking the titles and then keep feuding with the New Day. I'm sure the New Day will win it back because from what I've been told or I've heard news-wise or report-wise, people reporting things. The New Day is supposed to be on target to get, I guess, 9 or 10, whatever the new record would be in tag title victories. So in order to do that, you got to have losses, and who better to lose to than the Bar? So I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely it's going to be a great match regardless, but at the same time, yeah, I remember actually getting to watch it a couple times, and it just seemed like it was back and forth with New Day and the Usos, like just trading the belts back and forth. And I see how that would get stale after a while, but like, yeah, it's now the Bar is actually in the fold there. That's going to be nice, and it'll open up some more tag team opportunities too, I believe. So I would say,
just transitioning from a face tag team to a heel tag team. Now you open up for a heel tag team a face tag team that is not the New Day to challenge. Should be the Usos, although we've seen that match, but they were good. I guess the Usos, for me, should be next in line to challenge the Bar. I guess after they have a mandatory rematch against the New Day.
Oh, yeah.
So next up we have Naomi and Asuka versus the Iconics. That's Billie Kay and Peyton Royce.
Oh, then definitely Naomi and Asuka, if anything, I believe. Because, frankly, I don't know who the other two were.
They are... They were former NXT. They got called up after WrestleMania, and they are a female tag team. Well, obviously, but they're Australian actually.
Oh,
or they have good Australian accents, and they're not actually. I don't know if I'm assuming they're both actually Australian. So their hometown.
So they have heels. That hometown. They have that. Well, even then, even if you're hometown and you're a heel, you're gonna get cheered. I mean, think about Bret Hart back in the day too, with the new Hart Foundation and everything.
Well, it depends on when. I've seen him get booed out of, recently watched him get booed out of certain Canadian venues too.
Yeah,
based on what he was doing, but
for the most part though, if you're foreign and you actually go back to your homeland for like whether it be a title defense or anything else. The crowd's gonna, like, for the most part, roundly cheer you unless...
I don't know. I just watched where the Bulldog had thrown that metal trash container in Vince's office and hit Stephanie and gave her a concussion.
Oh, I
and
remember
caused
that
memory
one.
loss.
Yeah.
And then he came out to his home country crowd in Britain, and they booed him out of the building.
I remember that one.
So circumstances vary. In this case, they're probably going to get cheered. Because they're kind of beloved heels.
Yeah.
They're corny and they're they're kind of meh, you know.
Yeah.
But they're still kind of funny. I think they'll get cheered, but I think they're going to lose.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Asuka and Naomi over the Iconics. Next up, we have Bobby Lashley and John Cena in a tag team match against Kevin Owens and Elias.
As much as I hate to say it, as much as I don't like either one of them, I'm gonna have to go with Lashley and Cena on this one.
Yeah, how can you go against Big Match John?
But yeah, the Kevin Owens and Elias, I love them both to pieces. Like Kevin Steen, I'm not going to say it. Kevin Steen is like one of my favorite wrestlers. Simple as that. A guy with that size and that amount of agility, but being that big of an asshole. And
he's a great heel.
He's one of the last good heels. I mean, he can get roundly booed at places, but by just showing up and smiling and telling people the truth, those are the best heels on the planet. Those ones that can beat you with their regular abilities, but at the same time will also aren't above using either some interference from somebody else or just heel tactics to pull off the win.
But by any means necessary, which actually brings us to our next match.
Yeah.
Where the Miz has been talking about he is not afraid to cheat to win. But Daniel Bryan, will not tarnish his name by stooping to cheating. If you forget about, his whole heel run as the no guy, but whatever. So we have the Miz and Daniel Bryan. The caveat in this match is that the winner becomes the number one contender. Well, they haven't put it that way. They said the winner gets a future WWE Championship match.
Yeah.
So we don't know when. Technically, they're not going to call him the number one contender because that would mean probably nobody gets a title shot before you, and we're probably going to see somebody get a title shot before. I'm going to keep letting you go first. I don't want to interfere with your non-knowledge.
Oh, I definitely want to go with the Miz.
Yeah, me too.
He just wants it more, and this rivalry, that's been going on for quite some time, and it's one of those ones that just hasn't cooled off. I mean, it dates all the way back to the NXT or the pretty much the rookies days, and
the original season of NXT.
Yeah, and it dates all the way back to that, and it's one of those deals where the Miz has always seen himself as better, even though Daniel Bryan has been on the scene probably just as long, if not a little bit longer, than the Miz.
Yeah, he's been on it longer.
So, but the Miz makes a whole bunch of interesting points. The fact that he's never taken the time, he's never been injured. He'll go straight after any injuries that Daniel Bryan has sustained. He'll exploit them. He will do anything it takes to win.
But there's nothing that Daniel Bryan can exploit unless he injures the Miz during the match.
Yeah, he'd have to either hit him pretty hard or incapacitate him in some way, shape, or form. Because A, this is in front of a huge capacity crowd. B, the Miz, like always, feels like he has to either show up or just, be better than anybody else that he's in the ring with, which is great because his WWE Championship run is still one of the best things I ever saw. Like, a lot of people gave it a bunch of crap, but his run was actually a lot longer than most other people's, and it was entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
It was must-see TV.
It was must-see TV.
You couldn't take your eyes off the screen when he was talking, even if it's just for the Intercontinental title or the World title, any belt that he had at that point, he made relevant because he was just roundly booed, and you don't really get that, and yeah, I see the Miz just walking away with this and just talking about it for the next year.
The Miz's next time is due.
Yeah,
it's been past due, but he's not going anywhere. He never gets injured. It's time. If it's not now, it'll be soon, and if it's not soon, it'll be eventually. But I mean,
if he ever goes away, it's just make another Marine movie, and then he's back and kicking ass again.
well, the Miz came in with nothing but just high hopes for himself and some physical ability.
Yeah.
And he went from nothing. He went from 1% of a complete wrestler to becoming a complete wrestler to gradually and consistently getting better as a complete wrestler.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a year go by that the Miz doesn't get better at something, and sometimes considerably. I remember back when he was with John Morrison, and there was just at one point I was watching a tag match that they had, and I'm thinking to myself, when did the Miz become a good wrestler? Because I'm watching him wrestle, and I'm like he's actually holding his own with John Morrison, and they're playing off each other and the tag team that they're wrestling, and and from that point on, I've been a Miz fan, because even though he was a heel at that point, I was just impressed by the fact that
you had to respect him. I mean, like he's quite possibly like one of the best students of the game.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Like he started off like when I was watching him do OVW house shows here in our town, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. He was just impressing the crap out of me just then too, because anytime I went there month by month, he would actually he'd add either a new move to his repertoire, or he'd be sharper on the microphone, or because at that point Paul Heyman I think was also doing the booking too. So chances are he was learning a lot from him at that point. But at the same time,
if you're going to learn how to be good on the mic, you're going to do it from Paul Heyman.
Oh, absolutely. If you're going to learn how to cut a promo, it's like back in the day in Smoky Mountains and whatnot, it was Bullet Bob Armstrong. These days, if you're going to cut a good promo, chances are it's Heyman. So,
well, for me with this match, it's a win-win situation. I'm going to be happy if Daniel Bryan wins. I'm going to be happy if The Miz wins. The question here is, what is the ultimate payoff? And is the ultimate payoff going to be the end of this feud at Super Showdown, where Daniel Bryan wins and then goes on to face the champ? I don't like that as a payoff.
No.
I don't like that as the end of anything. I don't like it as a means to continue Daniel Bryan versus The Miz in the short term, though, because I do not want to see another match between the two of them, not at the Crown Jewel, not at the Survivor Series. I don't want to see them face each other again until WrestleMania. And what you do here is you give The Miz the win, and he faces AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. That way, AJ Styles can beat CM Punk's record, and then The Miz takes the title at the Royal Rumble, and then Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble, because people have been waiting to see Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan throws Roman Reigns over the top rope as the final two, or somehow gets him over the top rope, and Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble. He challenges The Miz. It's Daniel Bryan versus The Miz for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. That is the ultimate payoff, and that's the one I'm going to bet on, because that's the one I'd like to see.
Well, I was about to say that, and the recap video leading into that WrestleMania match would just be epic.
Oh, what they would be able to do for a video montage for both the go home episode of SmackDown before, for the pre-show. I mean, it would be amazing. They've got so much to work with.
The Smack Talk.
The Talking Smack?
Yeah, the Talking Smack, yes.
Well, they've done that one to death recently, but it's always worth watching again. The Miz is amazing at that.
It doesn't get old. That actually ranks for me above the initial CM Punk pipe bomb at this point, because it just had more of a genuine feel to it. Granted, Punk got handed him a live mic and got told to air his grievances, but at the same time, The Miz, you've seen him, he's had that chip on his shoulder this entire time, and finally got to let loose, and
it was awesome. Yes. Well, my long-term prediction there actually leads us into the next match, which is going to be AJ Styles, the WWE Champion, defending against Samoa Joe in a no DQ, no count out. There must be a winner. That's how they're pegging this. There must be a winner.
Yeah.
I'm going with AJ Styles, because I want to see AJ drop it at Royal Rumble to The Miz, and The Miz versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Who are you going to go with?
I'm definitely going to go with Styles on this one, but it's for a complete, like, pretty much, I've seen these two wrestle countless matches. Most of it in Impact Wrestling
TNA.
and
You could say it TNA.
Or
it was TNA back then.
Yeah, it was TNA back in the day, yeah. But I've seen them wrestle so many times before, and each time it seems like they got better and better in the ring naturally. And it's almost like Dolly and Kenny. You know, they're just that match together. And but with AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, it's one of those situations where AJ's going to have to pull out the stops to win this match. It's not going to be like a straight up in the ring match and that's just Samoa Joe's almost unstoppable, especially when it comes to any kind of chance for him to get gold and get paid more.
Especially in a no disqualification match.
Like a no disqualification match, he won't have to stop. AJ won't have to stop. It's going to be that's going to be the match that probably steals the show. Is I think going to be the AJ Styles for Samoa Joe match.
I don't know. I don't know about calling AJ Styles matches to steal the show anymore, because I've been doing that for so many pay-per-views now, and he has ceased to steal the show on most of them.
Yeah, but that's also with the power of talent that you also have too, and the fact that these two have wrestled so many times together. But I'm thinking that's going to be the case here. I think, if anything, it may be the show stealer is what it's going to be. So
we're both going with AJ. We've got a lot. I think the only match that we disagree on so far is the Cruiserweight Championship match. So this is going to be interesting. Next up, we have Becky Lynch, the SmackDown Women's Champion, defending against Charlotte Flair.
Yep.
As we've got picked up
here. The good poster.
Yeah, the good poster. The one that we all deserve.
Yes.
I'm going... Well, no. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, me too.
I can't help it. Granted, I'm on board with Charlotte and everything, but Becky is like white hot, it looks like right now. And she's just now getting into this whole heel persona and everything. And
Stone Cold Becky Lynch.
Yes. And
they need to add a glass bottle shattering at the beginning of her music, and then throw in and then have a metal band, an Irish metal band, do a version of her theme song.
Oh, that would be pretty awesome.
That's what we need.
But yeah, at this point, to have her drop the belt to Charlotte would be stupid. But also the fact that I just like Becky more as a wrestler. I mean, granted, Charlotte's got the lineage and everything, but right now Becky's got like a whole other arsenal she's no doubt going to release. Plus, she's also got the advantages, I call it, of being the heel going into this match. So she wants it more. She's got a lot more to prove than Charlotte does. So I see Becky Lynch pulling off the victory on this one.
Well, my long-term prediction on this match, it influences my pick on the match, but I'm seeing Charlotte. Charlotte's going to have to wrap up any of her long-standing feuds, especially championship feuds on SmackDown, by January. Because in January, I see Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble. That's how you get her in a match with Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. Yeah. She challenges Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship.
That would be a pretty great transition there. So, but
I've heard people say that it's going to be a fucky finish on this, where it's not going to be a pinfall or submission, or if it is, it's going to be because of some shenanigans, which would make sense. I see a third or a fourth or fifth match here at this point, but I see a follow-up match where Charlotte gets one more chance at the Women's Championship at Evolution. For the SmackDown brand, I think that's still the best match you're going to put on at Evolution is Becky Lynch versus Charlotte again. But in this case, I'm giving it to Lynch, and I'll give it to Lynch at Evolution as well if she does retain, because I see Charlotte going on to face Rousey after winning the Rumble.
And I'm going to say this right now. Great use of the word shenanigans.
Oh, you'll hear it a lot on Aaron and the A-Team videos because they try and keep it G-rated PG. They don't try and cuss.
Yeah.
I'll call it fuckery, but they'll call it shenanigans because it's the best word for it.
But you have Becky Lynch, Fireland, and you got shenanigans. So it'd be great if it was Shalady shenanigans.
So speaking of Ronda Rousey, up next on our list we've got Rousey and the Bella Twins versus the Riot Squad: Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. And apparently Liv Morgan is going to be wrestling in this match. So hopefully her concussion was not as bad as it looked, because fuck, that looked brutal.
Oh, I've actually seen videos of this, and yes. But sadly, I see Rousey and the Bella Twins walking away with the victory.
Now, some people are suggesting that Brie Bella is going to take the fall here. The Riot Squad is going to win, and Brie's going to take the fall as punishment. But I don't see that happening. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that because it would look like public punishment. Although, people have gone both ways on this in support of Brie, in support of Liv. Some say that Brie was all in the wrong. Some say that Liv leaned into the kick. She was out of position for the kicks. All I know is that watching the video back, Brie Bella is not looking at Liv Morgan. She is looking at the crowd. She is looking for her pop. And she is not in the right when she does that.
No.
Because she should have stopped at the first kick to the face. Because she should have been watching what she was doing and seen that she kicked Liv Morgan in the face and that she was falling unconsciously toward the ground when she caught the second kick.
Yes.
So, in that vein, I am putting 100% of the blame on Brie Bella.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of those situations where, especially with kicks these days in the business, because for a while they're not nearly. They're a lot more stiff now than they used to be, and there's not a lot of holding back on them. So.
Well, those yes kicks are meant to be stiff. You want to hear a pop on the chest. That's why you always see the person taking the kick loading up their chest to absorb all of the impact. But Brie Bella should have been looking at what she was doing, and she should have stopped after the first kick. Whether or not the first kick was enough to do all of the damage, the second kick looked even more brutal, and it was coming out of nowhere because Liv Morgan was half out.
Yeah.
Because of the second kick, it is 100% Brie Bella's fault.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she should be publicly punished by taking the fall here, but I am saying that she shouldn't be in this match, for one, and she should no longer be in high-profile matches until she gets a little more training from whatever ring rust she might have, or just not being able to keep up with the new style of women's wrestling. Whatever the case may be, she needs to go back down to the Performance Center and train a little longer. I'm not saying never get back in the ring. I'm just saying
regain a little bit of focus.
Focus and confidence. Confidence is probably the reason that she botched those suicide dives several weeks ago, because she wasn't confident, so she held back. And you can't hold back when you're doing a suicide dive. You've got to throw yourself out like you're going to land on pillows and know that you're going to land on a couple of people that are trying to help catch you safely.
It's at that point you have to trust the fact that the crowd is just going to go apeshit for the move or the apeshit for the spot, and not focus so much on what they're doing. Focus on not,
Well, the common theme here is Brie Bella is botching moves that she is either choosing to do or being forced to do because of the pop that it gets her, because they are Daniel Bryan moves.
Yes.
She botched the suicide dives. She should not be doing suicide dives. Let Daniel Bryan do the suicide dives. She botched the yes kicks. She should not be doing yes kicks. When you watch Daniel Bryan do them, you will watch Daniel Bryan focus on his opponent and make sure he's not kicking them in the face. Yes. She did not do that because she's not thinking about that, because she's not trained properly to do it, probably. So just let her do the moves that she knows how to do, which I guess that's what they've been doing the last several weeks, but good grief, man. Get her some more training and then bring her back. Yeah. Don't punish her, don't get rid of her, nothing like that. Just get her some more training. But yeah, I can't say that it's anybody else's fault but Brie Bella's when she kicked her in the face twice. Yes. Should have been one kick, if that. Yes. But even the first kick, like I said, she's staring off into her pop. And she's not focusing on what she's doing. She should have never kicked her in the face in the first place, let alone the second place. But let's get away from that. So you're predicting Rousey?
I still predict Rousey and the Bellas. If anything, Brie won't get the pinfall, Rousey probably will, but at the same time, and that'll probably be just a shot to Brie Bella anyways, the fact that she won't.
I'm agreeing with you that team is going to win, but I'm thinking Ronda Rousey's going to do all the work at the end, and then Nikki Bella's going to tag herself in and get the pinfall. Ronda Rousey's work.
So either way, Brie's not gonna.
Well, that's how you kind of turn Nikki Bella against, or turn one of them against the other, or whatever. That's how you build up to a match between them at Evolution, because that's the rumored match. So that's my guess. But either way, we're both again in agreement, and we're going with Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins over the Riot Squad. Up next, we've got another 6-person tag match. We've got the Shield. That's Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose versus the Dogs of War, who are comprised of Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Ooh. Glad I remembered all those names. Not that I should be able to forget them, but at the same time, it's 10 matches and we're almost to the end. So, who do you call here?
I'm actually going to go with the Dogs of War on this one.
Really?
I think...
Really?
Yes, that's an interesting team up right there. And, yeah, I can actually see them pulling it off.
Now, they're full-fledged heels, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's on a stage as big as they're going to be having right there, what better way to actually start everything off? And Ziggler, I swear to God, he's still the most underrated wrestler that the WWE actually is in possession of. He's held to me in the same cornerstone as The Miz, just not as decorated at this point, which is horrible because he's been with the company a little bit longer, if not as long, back in the Spirit Squad as Nikki, and paying his dues as the caddy for Kerwin White, old Chavo Guerrero, at one point when Chavo was trying to be a white guy.
Well, my thing about Dolph Ziggler, and I've said it before on some of my personal channel, my Aftermatch Wrestling channel videos. Yeah. Dolph Ziggler is kind of, overall, his character is stale in the unchangeable way. Yeah. His character has pretty much always been him trying to prove himself because he's not getting the reaction that he should get, and when he is, it's only short-lived, and then the crowd kind of dies down for him again.
Well, I've noticed that about Ziggler throughout his career, too. They will change him from face to heel, at the drop of a hat.
Well, he's always better as a heel. Thus, heel Ziggler. I mean, that's his I believe that's his Twitter handle.
Hashtag heel. That was his gimmick for the longest time.
But the crowd always dies down on Ziggler, no matter what. I mean, he always seems like that's his gimmick, is that he feels like he's not appreciated enough, and he's trying to prove himself, whether it's on the mic or in the ring. And what gets me about it is he always does impress.
Yeah.
But somehow, because he seems to always be complaining about his reaction never improves. And it only improves when he turns face, but it only lasts so long. Then they got to turn him heel again because he's always better as a heel. And it's a cycle with him.
Well, also with this, though, you have Drew McIntyre, who's always been one of the favorites of mine. And he's just a great performer in general. And you have Braun Strowman. And so you have these two giants, more or less. And you have the Shield, who, they're a cohesive unit and everything. But at the same time, I see the Dogs actually pulling it off. I actually see...
You're crazy, and this is going to be the first one since the first match that I'm going to disagree with you.
Yep.
There's no way that the Shield is losing here. It just... If anything's going to happen in this feud, it's not going to happen there. And thus, the Shield is going to win because they're the baby faces and Roman Reigns on their team. And I wouldn't be surprised if Roman Reigns freaking pins Braun Strowman in the middle of the ring for the 1, 2, 3 at the end of the match. I'm going Shield. I don't want to invest more time in this match unless you want to discuss either Ziggler McIntyre, or why on earth WWE thought it was necessary to turn Braun Strowman heel. I say we move on to the final match.
Absolutely.
What should be the main event of this show, but via certain sources, apparently it may not main event. It may be the 6-man tag match with the Shield and the Dogs of War. But anyway, we've got The Undertaker and Triple H, which is being billed as the last time ever / one-on-one in parentheses. Because we could see some tag team matches or something.
Didn't we have the last time ever, and then Triple H?
That was end of an era.
End of an era.
And it was in Hell in a Cell, so technically, as long as they don't do a one-on-one in Hell in a Cell, you can kind of. No, it's all garbage. It's all garbage, man. Like they feed you this bullshit. John Cena versus The Rock, once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, turns out it was twice.
Yeah.
Well, they upped the ante because The Rock had the WWE Championship, but fuck all that.
Yeah.
It's garbage when they try and feed you these lines that they know that they don't care to keep their promise.
Yeah, is it like there's almost like no such thing as a wrestler retiring or leaving the company?
Well, before we get into retirement promises that they never seem to keep, who are you going with here?
I might still go with The Undertaker.
Oh, so here's another one.
I don't think, as much as Triple H, wants it, and as much as he could easily put himself over in the match, he's not going to win this one. I think it's going to still be The Undertaker.
I'm going with Triple H.
I don't want The Undertaker to win. I think he should have stopped. After even after the streak was conquered, I think he should have stopped.
So Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. What was it? So they are going to try to get as much money out of this feud as possible, and the only way you're going to do that is having the Undertaker lose at the Super Showdown, and the best way, because of the rumored tag team match next month at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, being DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. So you have Shawn Michaels somehow interfere in the match, costing The Undertaker the match. And then The Undertaker gets so mad about it that he demands that Shawn Michaels comes out of retirement, because he's the one that retired him. And that's how you get Shawn Michaels in a match going forward.
I'm still going to go with The Undertaker.
Well, I'm going with Triple H. So that gives at least three. That's 3 matches that we disagree on. So one way or the other, one of us will have a victory out of this.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me. Again, I want to see if this guy, knowing nothing about all of the feuds going in, beats me. Yeah, I'm not necessarily looking forward to this show. Not like I would. I don't know.
I was about to say the card is actually pretty well stacked and kind of varies, but at the same time, the fact that you have a pretty solid card there. It's just
there's so much waste. Like Naomi and Asuka versus the Iconics. There's no reason for this match to be on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley and John Cena versus Kevin Owens and Elias. There's no reason for John Cena to be on this pay-per-view. If he was going to be there, dark match, something like that, or just show up. But there's no reason for him to take the spot that somebody else could be in. Let's see, Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins versus the Riot Squad. That match doesn't need to happen. No. It should be Ronda Rousey versus somebody for the Raw Women's Championship. Mm-hmm. The Shield versus the Dogs of War, that kind of makes sense. And of course, The Undertaker and Triple H definitely makes sense. The rest of the card is great, but there is some definite filler that I would get rid of personally. Just get rid of it completely and make it a shorter show. But I guess if you're going all the way to Australia, they're going to put on as long of a show as they're going to stick around in the stadium to watch.
Absolutely.
So for Stefan, well, we got to do. You have no plugs. I do have plugs.
I'm unplugged.
So you can follow me on Twitter. You can go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's Stefan. Or you can just search for me on Twitter. That's Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. And You can catch all my videos. They go out on my personal YouTube channel first. That's Aftermatch Wrestling. And talk to us about wrestling. If you agree with our picks, leave comments down below. Let us know. There's 10 matches on the card, so I expect comments with really long. 10 different picks. Let us know what you think is going to happen at Super Showdown. So this time, for Stephen Osborne, the Wizard of No DQ, for the General Jerry Slaughter, thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.